Alright. What is up, YouTube? HPJ here. And welcome to the month of November. This is Miss Valentine's birthday month. And I wanted to do a Harpie deck profile for you all to focus on, well, the Harpies. And Rush Duel definitely took the Harpies to a new level, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on with to this deck profile for the month of November. It's going to be Harpie's Rush Duel deck profile, and I cannot wait because we are going to have so much fun. But really, I am expecting a new wave of Harpie support maybe soon in Rush Duel, but it isn't coming anytime soon. So we're just going to have to use what we have, which is fine. So I'm really excited for this. I know this may not be the most conceptual build, but it's more of a fun build that I'm working on because I want to focus on more than just the fusions. I want to also still incorporate Harpie Lady Sisters as a main conglomerate to the deck. So why don't we go ahead and we get started. And I'm starting off with 3 copies of Harpie Lady. She is then followed up by 3 copies of Harpie Lady 3, then 1 Harpie Lady 2, 1 Harpie Lady 1, and 1 Harpie Lady Pet Master. Then for the next of the monsters, I'm running 2 Harpie Lady Sisters, 2 Harpie Lady Sisters L, and 2 Harpie Lady Sisters R. Then for the last of the monsters, I'm running 2 copies of Harpie Regina, 2 copies of Harpie Celio, 2 copies of Harpie Bell, Harpie Kara, 2 copies of Harpie Bell, and 1 copy of Ryza the Storm Monarch. So that is literally it for all of my monsters. I'm going to go ahead and go into the spells and traps. So starting off with my spells, I am running 3 copies of Harpie's Full Dress, 2 copies of Alien Egotist, 2 copies of Triangle Ecstasy Spark, 2 copies of Ghost Cyclone, and 1 copy of Graceful Charity. For the traps, I'm running 2 copies of Splendid Slash, 2 copies of Harpie's Feathered Tempest, 1 Hysteric Party, and 1 Icarus Attack. And that's literally it for all of the cards in the main deck. That is a total of 40. We're going to now move on into, of course, the extra deck. And that is 3 copies of Harpie Lady Sisters Triangle Beauty. That is then followed up by 3 copies of Harpie Lady Feather Duster. Then 2 copies of Harpie Lady 2 and 3, a copy of Harpie Lady 3 and 1, a copy of Harpie Lady 1, 2, 3, 2 copies of Harpie Celio in her charming dress, then 2 copies of Harpie Regina in her splendid armor, and 1 copy of Harpie Kara in her charming dress. So that is literally it for all of my Harpie monsters in my Harpie Rush Duel deck. So I'm going to go ahead and we go through everything, starting off with Harpie Lady. This is probably one of your key points of your deck itself. Harpie Lady will give you access to a normal monster being in play or in the graveyard, which will trigger the additional abilities that a lot of your other cards will have within the deck. Harpie Lady herself may not have the highest base stats that you have, but because she's Harpie Lady, she gives you access to multiple things within the Rush Duel deck. Whether it's fusion summons, using the abilities of other cards and their effects, or simply just being present and having the number of utility cards associated with Harpie Lady is definitely a thing. Next up is Harpie Lady 1, 2, and 3. So these are the Harpies that are Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. The other thing about them, of course, is unlike the maximum 3 ruling in TCG, OCG, you can run multiples of these and not have them affected by the deck. However, the ban list took care of that by putting Harpie Lady 1 and 2 to 1. Harpie Lady 3 is the only one of them to not be limited, and it's simply due to the fact that she kind of has the weakest ability out of the 3, excuse me, which is just to stun level 1 to level 8 monsters from attacking for a turn until the end of your opponent's turn, which I guess in some cases it can be beneficial. But you're really doing here with this Harpie is to help you fusion summon into your other Harpie monsters. Harpie Lady 2 and Harpie Lady 3 both share the ability where You can send top card of your deck to the grave, and it'll become Harpie Lady on the field until the end of your opponent's turn, while also having the ability to be Harpie Lady in a graveyard. It's really dark. I'm a little tired, so I'm just going to work through this as best as I can. Harpie Lady 1 gives all wind monsters 300 additional attack points, and is still preferably the most used Harpie Lady out of them all. Harpie Lady 2 has an ancient gear effect when she swings, so that at least protects her. But for the most part, the utility of being able to set up for a lot of your bigger pushes from your extra deck is why these Harpies had to be hit the way they were. Moving on from these Harpies, we're now going to go into the next wave of Harpie monsters, and that is, of course, Harpie Lady Pet Master, who simply uses Harpie's Pet Dragon in this deck on her own. If you have 3 Harpie monsters on the field, you're able to target one of controls and destroys it. She sends the top card of the deck to the grave to then become Harpie Lady to also associate with that ability. And it's still a relatively good monster, but because of her ability to become Harpie Lady, they had to limit her to 1 as well. I want to move on from all of my Harpie Lady monsters to then talk about my Harpie Lady sisters. I am running 2 of each of the monsters that make the maximum monster for the Harpie Lady sisters. That is simply just because I have access to them. The whole ordeal is that you want to get the 3 together so that you can focus on their maximum summon. You're able to return your wind monsters in the graveyard back to your hand, then allow your monsters to attack up to 3 times, and then be unaffected by your opponent's trapped in monster effects, which can be very useful. So the only thing really that can hurt you is a well-timed good spell, and even then, you should be trying to win the game with your Harpie Lady sisters by the time that happens. Especially because there is just so much swiftness with them. And I wanted to go for the build that included the maximum monster because, well, the maximum monster still kicks ass. It's just that unfortunately she's kind of a little overcited by their new fusion monster. But still, relatively can see some play. It's just strategizing will be the key. From there are the lone of Harpies, and that is Harpie Lady, Harpie Regina, Harpie Cara, Harpie Celio, and Harpie Bell. Which, excuse me, on their own just sounds like additional more Harpie monsters to help play out the deck. But really, it is just to keep more things together. Harpie, we'll start from left to right. Harpie Regina has the ability to send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard while you control another winged beast to then, to draw 1 card. But if you happen to have Harpie, if you happen to have a normal winged beast on the field, which you activate her fight, you can target a Harpie Lady or sisters in your graveyard and add them back into your hand. And Harpie Celio, who she can return Harpie Lady sisters on your field back into your hand, since Hati cards your deck to the graveyard, and if she does, you're able to add Harpie's Feather Tempest from your graveyard back into your deck, which ultimately makes her the recycler for Harpie's Feather Tempest. Harpie Cara can get our Harpie's full dress and set it onto the board, giving us access to the card as soon as possible. And Harpie Bell can pick up any level 2 or lower Harpie monster. Mostly her target will be Harpie Bell, and be easily used for all the future service that come out. So I'm only running 2 of each because I did not want to clutter up my deck. And then the last card is Ryza, because I do not have Tempest. I mean, not Tempest. I don't have, what's that monster thing? Oh, E-Hero Prisma is who I'm thinking of. Yeah, I don't have a Prisma. So, because I don't have a Prisma, it's going to be Tempest for a while. I mean, the Dragon Ruler, sorry, I have multiple wind monsters I'm burning right now. Alright. Moving on from there, let's talk about the cells and traps. Harpie's full dress, because of course this is the equipped spell that gives your Harpies their additional points, allows you to swing at your opponent and inflict piercing battle damage. This is just an ultimate card for the Harpies. It takes the equipped spell. I'll get you to help us speed up the process of special summoning and sparing the field and going into our fusion monsters. Triangle Ecstasy Spark to, of course, help with the Harpie Lady Sisters and Wind Monsters as well. Giving the additional bonus of stats so that the Harpies can take out more monsters and not have to be worried about your opponent's background. Harpie's feather. The Cyclone, another utility card as well. And if you have 3 or less Harpies, 3 or less monsters in the grave, you get to draw a card. So not too bad there. Then Graceful Charity, just to be an additional support card for draw power. Alright, Pot of Greed, I know is available, but I can get to Greed before I got to Graceful, so bite me. Next is the Trap cards, and that is simply a Splendid Slash to help out with bouncing cards back. Definitely when it comes to the Harpies and utilizing their resources. The Harpies have the Tempest for normal summons, Hysteric Party to massively swarm the field, and then Icarus Attack. So of course take out things that are on the field as well that can be a hindrance. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the main deck. And now we're going to go into the extra deck explanations, which, to be fair, not many. Harpie Lady Sisters Triangle Beauty is ultimately who you're going for with any of the Harpie Lady Sisters and 2 other winged beasts. She cannot be targeted by your opponent's spell and traps. However, she is a very brutal beast when it comes to things. So, yeah, shout outs to the Harpie Lady Sisters in their big future. Oh, by the way, it's treated as Harpie Lady Sisters while field or grave. Harpie Lady's Feather Duster, of course, just an easy one-shot that spells and traps that are on the board. A simple fusion of a Harpie Lady and a winged beast monster. Harpie Ladies 2 and 3, combining Harpie Lady, 2 and 3, being able to just stun your, prevent your opponent from hitting your monsters when they're normal special summon. This will be very handy. Then we have Harpie Lady 3 and 1. Her ability, of course, is to stun the monsters that you'll be encountering. Not bad. And then the big shot on the block. Harpie Ladies 1, 2, and 3. Needs 3 Harpie Lady Sisters. 3 Harpie Ladies to connect the summon. You can swing multiple times at your opponent, but can swing directly because it's perfectly fine. Because when you equip her with Harpie's full dress, yeah, it gets pretty nasty. Harpie Salio, and I believe the tactic for this is to send cards from the top of your deck to the grave to then be able to play out Harpie Salio without any... No, to help you get back your Harpie Lady Sisters. She's the recycler for your sisters, which isn't too bad. Then we have Harpie Regina in her Splendid Armor. Regina is here to assist with more removal when needed. And then we have Harpie Kara in her Charming Dress, which is an attack debuff. Smart one, not really. Useful, it has its advantages, but she still gets to play around with it. And that literally just leaves the end of this deck profile, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it because it did take me some time to build it, especially if you know that I've been busy with, other things and other projects and stuff. So it is nice to finally get the chance to sit down, go over things with my decks and enjoy what is being offered. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. No Shining Shady, no insert other cards, no Just for the Cosmo Queen. Everything's expensive. You guys want me to get them? Buy them for me and then send them to my address. Alright, with that said and done, I'm going to get off of here because I'm very tired. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I keep you guys posted. HPJ signing out. Take care.